So, my review of Donizetti's Lucia de la Marmor live from the Bayerische Staatsoper starring Diana Damrau and Pavel Breslik has been postponed. Why, you ask? Because I have to review FoodFight, one of the most infamous pieces of animation ever. That's why. Okay, we're getting way too ahead of ourselves. This thing was released in the UK back in June 15th, 2012, before it landed on American soil on May 7th, 2013. It was directed, written, and produced by Lawrence Kasanoff. The co-writers were Sean Catherine Derrick, Brent Friedman, Rebecca Swanson, and Joshua Wexler. The co-producers were George Johnson and Joshua Wexler. The music was composed by Walter Murphy. The editors were Anne Hoyt, Roy Mupas, Craig Paulson, and Sean Rourke, and it stars the talents of Charlie Sheen, Wayne Brady, Hilary Duff, Eva Longoria, Christopher Lloyd, Larry Miller, Chris Catton, Jerry Stiller, Ed Asner, Christine Baranski, also Lawrence Kasanoff in a very annoying role. I'll get to him later. Harvey Fierstein, Cloris Leachman, Shelley Morrison, Edie McClurg, Greg Ellis, James Arnold Taylor, Jeff Bennett, Ann Rydell, Daniel Francesa, Jason Harris Katz, Jennifer Keith, Melissa Disney, Bob Bergen, Susan Silo, and many, many others who got themselves into this piece of shit. Okay, calm down. So how did I get introduced to this? Well, I've heard a lot of horror stories of this film, most notably from reviews done by the Nostalgia Critic, JonTron, Animat, Phantom Strider, and many, many, many other of my reviewer friends/acquaintances who reviewed this film. So how did someone like me get thrown into reviewing this? Well, I have one person to thank from the bottom of my heart. And I mean it in the most sincerest way and not in the most sarcastic. Tony Watley II, aka the Black Critic Guy. He was basically having this little experiment called Puke Cinema in honor of his annual Bullshit Month, which is every August. So I got myself involved in the live stream and decided to also give this film a try. What I got was me feeling very numb and almost wanting my life back. So a little bit of history for this film. This animated film has been very well known for having one of the saddest stories ever. This was supposed to be released in 2003, but because of a lot of financial problems with the cast and the crew, it was pushed to a much later date and pushed much later until 2012. So you could really tell that the star quality of this cast was not really enough to save the entire film. And on top of that, you could really tell that this film has been in so much development hell that the results were absolutely sad, to say the least. Also, this film had a budget of $45 million, and what happened after this film's release? It only got $73,706 back from the box office. That is miserable. And this has also been coined in as one of the worst animated films of all time. As I said before, reviewers like the Nostalgia Critic, JonTron, Phantom Strider, and many others have called out this film for its horrible writing, horrible animation, and inconsistent story. So, what did I think of it? As if the answer isn't really that obvious. Let's start off with a story, shall we? So what we got here is a mixture between Toy Story with grocery store items and a whodunit mystery. And what do we have here? a jumbled up mess. Everything about the story is so inconsistent, so glued together in such an awkward manner, and everything just transitions horribly, using loads and loads of filler, using a little bit of Deus Ex Machina, and jokes which make me wonder, who is this film even aimed for? I'm serious. Who would ever watch this? I mean, adults would practically feel mortified and bored and sick with this film, and kids would have nightmares. I don't think any teenager would watch this too, because everything about it looks absolutely nightmare-inducing, and everything seems to not flow well together. And don't get me started on a lot of the jokes in this film. They use so many puns, and there's not an ounce of creativity which I can sense in this film. They resort to spouting out all these lame one-liners which come from different movies and come from loads of other source materials far better than this film, and they sound horribly awkward. So I'm not gonna mince words here. The story and the writing found in this very film is so aggravatingly stupid. Nothing flows well. Everything seems to fall apart at the drop of a hat, and we have one of the most anticlimactic endings ever. I'm not going to spoil it right here, because when it comes to me doing movie reviews, especially a most recent one, or even years past, I have a no spoiler policy. But safe to say that this ending is so anticlimactic that you're just going to shake your head in disappointment. And it drags and drags even until the credits roll. My word! So that was it about the story and the writing. It's nothing to even write home about. Everything about it just fell down. It has no structure, no sense of focus or cohesion whatsoever, and everything about it fell apart. And then we go to the animation, one of the worst aspects of the film. Now, I can totally understand that the guys behind this had a very difficult time releasing this film, but I could honestly see why this was supposed to be released back in the early 2000s. The animation looks absolutely dated by today's standards. That doesn't even excuse the whole jerky movement and all of the horrible inconsistencies which happen in the animation and the horrible looking character designs. I mean, come on, in 2003, we had much better pieces of animation like Finding Nemo and even to some extent Rugrats Go Wild, even if I don't even like that film. But I have to give that film credit because it still had nice animation. This one has horrible looking animation. The character designs are so awfully nightmarish. They can literally give you nightmares. And what's worse is that there's no sense of fluidity, especially on how the characters speak. There's no sense of fluidity, there's no emotion, they're all lifeless, and they move in such a choppy manner that I definitely felt numb after watching it. The camera movement doesn't even help either. It's so wonky, it's so jobby, it goes all over the place. It just feels like I am watching a car crash happening in front of my very eyes. You know what this reminds me of? That scene where Henry drops Mr. Highway on the freeway and all the cars come crashing down, even trucks come crashing down from the good sun. Yeah, that basically reminds me of that scene. Everything just seems to crash together, everything just seems to go in flames, and this, oh my word, I can't even begin to describe how ungodly the animation is. It's just so horrible. It makes me feel like I'm playing a very dated PlayStation game. it is that bad. The animation really was mind-numbingly atrocious right off the bat. The music, at best, is very lazy. It uses a lot of stock songs from different artists with almost no sense of originality. And the fact that the characters sang La Marseillaise, the French national anthem, in such a way that made me want to listen to Alanis Morissette and many other screaming rock star, that definitely says something right there. And this came from the same gentleman, Walter Murphy, who was one of the composers for Family Guy. Yeah, this gentleman basically wasted all of his musical talent in a film like this. He deserves better than this thing. And the characters, oh my word, there's nothing. There's literally nothing about these characters. You have Dex Dog Detective, who is your stereotypical, cool, laid-back hero persona. You have Sunshine Goodness, who is your stereotypical damsel in distress. You have Daredevil Dan, who is so god-awfully annoying, especially Cheezel T. Weasel, who is so annoying. You swear you want this little piece of shit to die after he got dropped off, flattened by a train, but no, he's still fucking... Who do you think Cheezel T. Weasel is? The animated Phil's version of the Terminator? Oh, seriously. This guy, every time he comes on screen, he says some of the most asinine, insipid, and just plain stupid lines ever. That's just how awful this character is. The fact that he never shuts up and speaks in a very monotone voice in courtesy of the director himself, Lawrence Kasanoff. My word, and I haven't begun to even talk about the voice acting. So overall, the characters range from absolutely stereotypical to stupid to just why? Why are you even in this film? And a lot of the characters are just there for props, like Mr. Clean, Miss Butterworth. All of the mascots in the supermarket are very much just props being used to move the story along. And the voice acting, oh my word. Now when you have people like Charlie Sheen, Hilary Duff, Wayne Brady, Edie McClurg, Eva Longoria, Christopher Lloyd, Larry Miller, Chris Catton, Ed Asner, Jerry Stiller, Christine Baranski, Daniel Francesa from Mean Girls. My God, Danny, what the hell are you doing in this film? You're better than this. Jason Harris and Jennifer Keith and Jeff Bennett, Melissa Disney, and Rydell, all these people, when you have a cast like this giving off such atrocious lines, you're left feeling bad for them. And don't get me started on Christopher Lloyd's character of Mr. Clipboard. My word, does his character have the personality of Rocks. He's just your stereotypical, I'm taking over the world type of bad guy, and there's nothing to him at all. So, I just feel bad for these characters. And Hilary Duff, oh my word. How could you go from Lizzie McGuire to doing this? And thank the Lord that you are doing much better with all of these fine, mature stuff on TV. This one is definitely a huge low point on her career. Her delivery is so flat and just so monotone, I felt bad for her. I seriously do. Hilary Duff was one of my most favorite actresses since childhood, and to see her in this film, or in this case, hear her in this film, giving off such lame lines and atrocious deliveries, that is just sad. And Charlie Sheen, what the hell are you doing this? The same thing can be said of all of you thespians right in this film. What the hell were you doing in this film? You are much better than this. Edie McClurg, you're so much better than this. Charlie Sheen, you're much better than this. Hilary Duff, you're much better than this. Wayne Brady, you're much better than this. Melissa Disney, you're much better than this. Danielle Francese, my word, you are much better than this. I loved you as Damien from Mean Girls, and this is what happened to you? Oh my word. Well, thank the Lord that you're doing much better. So overall, I feel bad for these actors for really being in this film. My heart really goes out to them and their resumes because they got themselves into this atrocity all because of a freaking paycheck. What a mouthful. So, overall, Food Fight is an absolute mess. I wouldn't even recommend reviewing this thing. I wouldn't even recommend watching this thing. It's best left in the dust, never to see the light of day again. And to those of you who plan on watching and reviewing Food Fight, don't say I didn't warn you. Or better yet, just don't even review it at all. Just pretend like it never existed and we can call it a day. And you really know what I'm going to give this film. A well-deserved 0 out of 5. It's an atrocity in every single way. And I have seen atrocities like Ren and Stimpy Adult Party Cartoon, Rugrats Preschool Days, Home Alone 4, 8 Crazy Nights, and even mediocrities like Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer. I would even classify Abominable Christmas as an atrocity. I've seen atrocious films, especially done by the likes of Zeltzer and Friedberg, and I'm not going to go into any of those films anytime, anywhere, because they're not worth it. This one, you might as well put it on the back burner. Let it burn. Never to see the light of day again. Let it be forgotten. And to all the actors who got themselves into this film, you have my utmost condolences for your careers. But at least I could tell that a good number of you have managed to get themselves back up and do much better works, and have probably erased Food Fight from all of your resumes. I'm sure that you've wiped it out clean. Well, that's all for now. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to make a pilgrimage to my goddess, Diana Dambrau, and to my prince, Pavoj Breslik, into the Bayerische Staatsoper production of Donizetti's Lucia de la Marmor. So until then, have a great day, guys, and thank the Lord that this is over.